out the way. Who got a watch? Who got the time? I'm raising the clock. Even in my feelings, grind don't stop. Got big dreams, want big rocks. I got plans, you got talk. Heard it's real cheap, but it's really gon' cost. I'm trying to get these ends, build empires with my friends. I'm about handling my business.
TV. Everything I say in this video is alleged. It is in my opinion, and it is for entertainment purposes only. Hello, YouTube family. It's DMarie TV. Please like, comment, and subscribe to the video, you guys. I'm new to YouTube. Every like and subscribe that I get, it helps me get higher in the algorithm. And I always forget to ask you guys in the front of the video, and I wait till the end and I miss it. So would you please do me a huge favor and like the video and subscribe to the channel. Here we go. Hey, DMarie TV family. So the wait is over. Episode 16, Innocent Until Proven Kiki, starts off with the intro, and they do a recap of what happened last season. And I did notice that Tiffany's dress is different. I still hate it. This girl, her fashion is, I hate it. I don't like the gray and purple on her and Lou. I just don't like it. But anyway, the first scene is Mel going to Tiffany's house. She's the first one to see Ace, and they're going in having a sit down just so Mel can see the baby and check in on Tiffany to see how she's doing. And of course, Tiffany brings up Kiki. Now this is very interesting because word on the street is Tiffany's the one who released the video. She orchestrated or had some things to do with the video being released to the public. That's the gossip on the YouTube streets. So Tiffany shares with Mel what she saw as far as Crime Stoppers. And Tiffany is basically questioning Mel's judgment about having Kiki in their presence because it could possibly impact their brand. Now, Tiffany just had a whole baby. We know Lou ain't coming home. We know she's kind of struggling. There's no conversation about that. There's no conversation about the birth, what it was like, how's the baby sleeping, how are you doing? There's no question about anything that pertains to her. Tiffany is having a problem. Her husband did not want the baby that she chose to have. He told her he didn't want no damn baby, and now she got the baby. He ain't coming home. Talk about that. Talk about that. Talk about Ace. How he's sleeping. What's his personality like? Talk about the birth. Talk about you. Not talk about Kiki in a story that you supposedly fabricated and helped put out there. You know what I'm saying? It's just weird how we're starting to see the same thing happen again, but it is just them replacing someone else. The Scotts do not want to talk about their lives. And Tiffany has picked up on the fact that they have got paid season after season not talking about themselves, and now she's starting to do it. Apparently, Tiffany needs to talk about what she does and what her profession is and what she does for work. Apparently, no one knows that. So how about you talk about that so the women that you've been on the show with for years can actually articulate what it is that you do. What we tend to see displayed on Love and Marriage Huntsville is a crab mentality. The Kiki was shining. So Tiffany's objective ever since Kiki has been on the show is to yank her and pull her down, because Tiffany does not want anyone to have more shine than Tiffany. She already felt low on the totem pole, and she didn't want Kiki to come in after her and shine more than her. So she immediately tried to do what she could to pull her down. It did look really bad when Crime Stoppers released Kiki's video. It made it seem like she 100% was guilty, and she did it. But this is something that Kiki has adamantly denied. She says she has lawyers on it. She said it's all going to be taken care of. And as of yet, we do not know that. I haven't seen her be arrested for it or any charges being filed. That doesn't mean that the case is resolved, but if that was Kiki, and if Kiki did in fact do it, they could not be looking for her at this point because everybody knows where she's at. She's on national TV. She ain't hard to find. So it's interesting that Tiffany feels like her brand is going to be harmed by Kiki being arrested. And I agree with Mel. If you don't want Kiki to harm your brand, just stay away from Kiki. Don't have nothing to do with her. But if it comes out that you helped orchestrate this against somebody, then that's gonna harm your brand as well. So hopefully Tiffany didn't do what she's being accused of doing either. I hope Kiki didn't do it. I hope Tiffany didn't do it. But if either of them had, any part in this situation, it's not gonna end well. But what I will say is Kiki has not been arrested for this. So Crime Stoppers, they ain't looking for her, because if they wanted her, she would have been arrested. That's all I'm saying. So Mel helps her, Tiffany, film a video to tell everyone that she's going to have a baby reveal. And so Tiffany does a take. The baby Ace is handsome. He's a handsome little boy, head full of hair. And so it's going to be nice to see what happens at the baby reveal. In the next scene, Courtney goes to see Marsau. He sits down with Marsau and he's talking to Marsau about him confronting Stormie at the Black Expo. Now again, I get tired of people on this show acting like they gonna come hard and check somebody, and they never do it. The only person who really checks somebody on this show is Mel. When Mel came for Miss Wanda, she came for it, she let her have it. Everybody knows that Marsau is an asshole, and everybody just lets Marsau be an asshole. If that was Courtney checking Marsau, that's crazy. He literally says, "Why did you approach my wife like that at the expo about the $100? Marsau says, "I told her about the $100. It was on the World Wide Web." What you should have done, you should have told everybody that there was going to be a fee charged, and you should have got a verbal agreement for them to pay the fee. He did not do that. So Courtney coming there and saying, "Why are you always having confrontations with women and everything?" And Courtney should have just went in and said, "It is inappropriate for you to approach my wife in that manner, and the next time you do it, it's going to be a problem between me and you." He should have just left it at that. Tipping the bartender $100 just further demonstrates that you and your wife do not manage money well. Y'all are being sued left and right in court about money, and you on TV flexing by tipping a waitress $100 for some water. Stacks on stacks. You are not stacks on stacks, because if you had that, y'all should not be getting sued in court for money non-stop and settling or losing the cases. And this is not alleged, folks. Anybody can go down to the Huntsville court records and look at what is happening with Canvas Beauty in court. This is not false information. This is not alleged information. This is information that can be proven. Okay, this is not people spewing rumors about people. This is not bullying. These are facts. So to sit up here on TV talking about y'all stacks on stacks and millionaires and all this other stuff, but you constantly getting sued for money, that doesn't make sense. And you tipping a waitress $100 for water was not necessary. It was just a flex for the cameras. But what you don't understand is that most of us who watch this show already know what it is. So Marsau continues to be what he is. He continues to gaslight people, talk crazy to people, and be disrespectful. And Courtney gets to continue to act like to his wife he's big and bad and he's gonna go out and check somebody, but really he didn't check anything. It fell flat, like Courtney and Stormie always do. They always fall flat. And this is why this couple has never been interesting to me on this show. It's just they're here trying to make something out of nothing, and they're, in my opinion, it's not a good fit. I do not like them on this show. I don't know why they're on the show. It's almost like another Destiny situation. Why are they there? So the next scene is Kimmy going to Tisha's apartment, and I found it interesting when the kids were moving in the boxes and she's telling everyone their room. She said, "And this is me." She didn't say, "And this is me and Marsau's room," or it was just weird. It said, "And this is me," kind of implying that she was there by herself, which is, it aligns with the rumor mill that Marsau and Tisha are split, but I guess we'll see soon enough. Kimmy comes over and her and Tisha are talking about the lunch they had with the girls, and Tisha is still upset because Tiffany was critiquing the event and Stormie was upset about the $100 request for her to have her space at the expo. Then Tisha goes into talking about, how long it's going to take her house to be built and all this other stuff, when we know that there are lawsuits against them for even getting the rocks blown out of that area. So I don't really know what's going on with them and why everybody on this show is fronting in line, but that's what they doing. And it's just kind of aggravating because you know the truth and they're just kind of putting on, you know? But anyway, they have their little lunch and she asks if she's gonna go to Tiffany's baby reveal, and Tisha says she doesn't know. I'm sure she's probably gonna go, so we'll see. But that was pretty much that. I didn't get a lot out of it. It was kind of boring, to be perfectly honest. It just feels like these people are not going to tell their real life, and their real lives are way more interesting. If they would just tell the truth and be honest, this show would be amazing. But they're just trying to skirt around everything, and because of that, it's boring. It's not giving. Kimmy and Maurice go on a bike ride and they stop and have a talk about her health and her libido and, you know, the expo. It's just they're sticking to one topic and they're keeping their storylines so tight because they don't want to talk about anything else. It's just repetitive. Each scene, we got to hear about the same old. And I'm just trying to figure out when are they going to start telling us the truth. That is a much more exciting show. If you actually give us reality TV, this would be a much better show than it is right now, because right now it's not really giving us anything. This was a good scene where Chris Fletcher goes to Martell's house. So Chris gets to Martell's house and Martell tells him to take his shoes off, and Chris is like, I ain't taking my damn shoes off. And that was the funny part. Chris looks good in a suit. But he comes over and he confronts Martell about subpoenaing them to go to court. Martell acted like he didn't think anything was wrong with that, but that was shady as I'll go. And then he tells Martell that he has to be out of the house. And they just start discussing the fact that Martell has known for months that these people were trying to sell the house that he's currently renting and living in. And he won't get out the house so the people can sell their house. And this is putting Chris in a predicament because as a realtor, you have a fiduciary duty to your client to work on their behalf. His duty is not to Martell, friendship or not. This man has to work for the homeowner. And Martell's just putting him in a hard spot by staying in the house longer than he's supposed to. It's not Chris's job to figure out where he stays or where he goes. You know, it's not Chris's job to find a place for Martell or make sure Martell has a place to live. It's Martell's responsibility. And this man, honestly, I feel so happy that Mel divorced him and she freed herself from such a heavy load. I can't imagine the load that she was carrying for this man. He can't even hold together a stable household. He can't pay his rent on time. He can't keep his lights on. He's moving 3 times, 4 times in how many years? 3 years? Like, he's doing a lot. And he just seems like he's a lot to deal with. Just across the board. Like, when you are married to somebody, you want somebody to help you. You want somebody you guys can support each other, not just somebody who just pulls on you. So every time that she says, you know, her life has gotten a lot lighter and it's gotten, you know, she feels like a weight's been lifted off of her. It clearly has been. He comes with a lot of baggage and he is not knowledgeable about things that a man his age should be mastering easily. Like, he's not 20 years old. You should not be having these type of problems just holding down a place to live and you're Martell's age. So it just goes to show you how much she did for him. And he is just crazy to put himself in this position. The fact that their stories are having to be told and the truth about them is slowly but surely seeping out. They're having to carry their weight. And that's the only thing that keeps this really interesting to me, because now they cannot all depend on Mel and her storyline. When she called them out during the last reunion, she put everybody on notice that people were going to be watching if they used her as a storyline. So they're trying not to do it, but because they don't want to tell their own stories, it's starting to become difficult for them to find content. And they would all have a slew of content if they just told the truth. You're on a reality show. You rode a woman. You rode her. Lived off of her. Fed off of her for 5 seasons. And now it's time for you all to tell your stories, and no one really wants to do it. Kimmy told a little bit about herself. And I would say Kimmy gave a lot when she opened up that she had cancer, and she took us through that process. However, the situation with their relationship, she's not being honest about that. Martell's not being honest about his circumstances financially, his living, how he's struggling after the divorce to just simply maintain as a man who decided to get divorced in middle age, and now this is the struggles that he's going through. If he would talk about that, that would be helpful to other men to understand what this process is like, so they would think twice about leaving a marriage to go out here and be in the streets, because the streets ain't got nothing for you. Everybody and their mama can see this man would have been way better off leaving Arionne alone and staying with his wife. He made the biggest mistake. I want to hear him talk about the struggles that are happening because of that decision. Overall, this scene was my favorite for this episode because we get to see a peek into what's happening with Martell for real. And we also get to hear Chris talk. I really enjoyed seeing him open up and talk in this scene because a lot of times Chris does not talk much. I like Chris. I find him and Nell interesting on this show, and I want to see more of them. Unlike Stormie and Courtney, Chris and Nell are interesting to me, and I want to see more. So next scene, we have Maurice and Kimmy. They're out on a beautiful day riding bikes, and Kimmy is basically trying to get more exercise because she's been feeling tired, and she's trying to get her energy levels up. So they're going on a bike ride. They pull over to just stop and have a chat, and Kimmy is discussing the Black Expo, and they're talking about the conversation the ladies had about the Black Expo and how there was issues with Stormie and Tiffany and that whole scene. They talk about that. Then Kimmy switches to her yoni egg that she has to go get another one because hers fell in the toilet. She's trying to strengthen her muscles so they can get their sex life back. Of course, she's saying that she's still having symptoms from the medication that has her libido low. And you know, Maurice in this area, he's talking about he feels like it's just mental with her. Of course, and rightfully so, she took offense to that. Her body's been through a lot. She's had to go through a lot of medications to get herself healed from cancer. And so she's still going to be feeling the after effects of that for some time. He does not understand that. And so they had that conversation. You know that this is all stemming from the conversation they had with when Maurice basically found out that she was faking sex for him while she was going through chemo. So he's still making comments about he's ready, you know, when is this going to be over, all this other stuff. And she feels like he's being insensitive, but he's always insensitive about sex. That's just kind of who he is and what it is. So I feel like this scene was just kind of made up because they didn't give us any new information. It's just kind of a repeat of what we were already seen or heard for them. So I'm starting to see that a lot. When they don't have anything new to discuss, they just repeat conversations or talk about something that we've already seen. So nothing new here. Kind of boring, you know, no new information, and that's that. The next scene is Stormie and Courtney back in the warehouse, basically talking about nothing new. She shows him the picture of Kiki, and that's about it. Stormie and Courtney are boring to me, so I don't really have much to say about that. And then the last scene of the show is about Kiki. Now, let me just say, I feel like they are really dogging Kiki out in this episode. They did the Crime Stoppers video. Tiffany addressed it. Stormie and Courtney talked about it. Maurice and Kimmy talked about it. Kimmy also talked about it with Tisha. It's just a lot. And I feel like if she didn't do this, that's embarrassing. But it is what it is, you know. So Melody goes over to Kiki's, and Kiki's telling her she had just got out of the hospital, and she's going through all these things that she's working on and what she's doing, and she's just talking. Towards the end of the show, she asked her about the Crime Stoppers video. Now, I find it odd that as soon as she got there, that's not the first thing that they talked about. I would think the Crime Stoppers situation would be top of mind and I would just have addressed it first, but she didn't. So I guess we're going to pick up here next week, and this is where the show is going to start with Melody and Kiki discussing what happened at Home Depot. They did put up a message towards the end that said Kiki has not been arrested for anything related to the Home Depot incident as of yet, but I feel like Kiki through the mud this season. I really feel like they're going to do it because they don't want to talk about themselves and they need a scapegoat. So they can't use Mel no more. So they're going to try to find something else to focus on. And I think Kiki's going to be the person who catches it. So overall, I give the show maybe, a 5 out of 10. It wasn't super interesting. Nothing really exciting happened or went on. They're basically just repeating the same thing in every scene. Everybody's using the same messages, talking about the same thing. It kind of feels to me like Stormie, Tisha, all of them get together and say, what topics are we going to cover? And then that's what they all talk about. It does not feel natural. It's not new information coming in different scenes, and people aren't talking about different things in different scenes. I don't know. We waited a long time for the show to come back and get started, and I feel like they should have gave us something a little bit more than this, but it also took some time for the last portion of the season to heat up as well. So hopefully it'll get better as the weeks go on. I hope Kiki is ready for this. For somebody who had an issue with drugs, this can be a lot. I hope that this does not push her back over the edge, or either she's already there. So we'll see how it goes. Drop me some comments. Let me know what you guys think about the episode. Did you like it? Was it boring to you? Was it interesting? What y'all feel about the conversation between Courtney and Marsau? I think Stormie think her dude is some kind of, I think she think he just like be about it or something. He folds. I don't know. It's weird. But we'll see how it goes next week. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you're aware next time I post a video. Have a good one.
Get out the way. Who got a watch? Who got the time? I'm raising the clock. Even in my feelings, grind don't stop. Got big dreams.